I wasn't always the biggest. I wasn't always the best.
Welcome to a new chapter of the fifth quarter, powered by LBA. Before introducing our new guest, I want to start by thanking Maven's Beirut, located in downtown, for the amazing setup and space. As you can see, we're in a barbershop. Not any barbershop, Maven's barbershop. Why? Because in our culture, the basketball culture, we say, you look good, you play good. Today's guest is Cleanthony Early, aka Mr. Can Do It All. What's up, bro?
How you doing, my guy?
I'm chilling, man. How's your season going?
Been going great. Can't complain, man. Been going real good.
How's Lebanon treating you?
It's been good. It's been great. We keep winning. Everybody's been piggybacking and just showing a lot of support. Just enjoying it.
I love that. Clee, where are you from?
New York City,
Originally from New York?
born and raised.
I like that. And how was it?
I
in
mean,
New York.
I'm from the Bronx,
Okay.
so my experience is a little bit different. Everybody, upstate, Brooklyn, Harlem, Queens, Manhattan. For me, the Bronx is real gritty, real tough. But I got a chance to also live upstate, a suburban lifestyle when I was in high school from 14 to 17. So,
Got you.
New York taught me everything that I know as far as
Yeah.
like the type of person that I am.
Got you. And is it because of basketball that you made it kind of like out of this?
Absolutely, 100%. I think, I wouldn't know, but I feel like it would have happened regardless. But I feel like basketball was definitely that vehicle for myself.
Got you. How'd you start basketball?
I mean, my brother, but being in the city, it was something everyone did.
Got
There's a
you.
park on every corner. Everyone is shooting hoops, whether you're in the house bending hangers or cutting out the bottom of shoe boxes and emulating Jordan or
Damn
going
tough.
to the park. I think that's everybody's, well, at least a lot of people that I know.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you, like, playing in front of like the Sagesse fans, how does it feel like?
It feels great, they come out and they support us. We get thousands of people there. I came here, I already had thousands of followers, but then it went up like another 10, 15,000 just
Crazy.
over a couple of games. So their support for the team has been
Yeah, they have
phenomenal.
like a crazy fan base, bro.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's different from the NBA, right? As atmosphere.
I would say it is because it's more compacted, but my experience was in the Garden. So that was
True.
a sellout every
True.
single game, and I got a chance to play at Wichita State for 2 years. Shout out to Zach. We played against him a couple of times, and he can tell you the Roundhouse sold out 12,000 every single game. We
You
didn't
played
have a game.
against them?
Yeah,
You beat them?
of course.
Easy game, huh?
Come on. We were undefeated second year. We ain't lose to nobody. So,
Yes,
that's how
sir.
we were one of the two teams, us and like Larry Bird somewhere in 70s and 80s, they were able to accomplish it. But it was a great experience, first year Final Four, and just having all those fans come out every single game and support us. Really, we thrived off of that. So playing in the Final Four, having 50, 60,000 at Georgia Dome, the atmosphere of having that much fans, those many people, I've been in those environments.
Were you always like comfortable playing again, like in front of all those like fans?
I think it started in school, really,
Okay.
like just being in front of people. At first, when you get called up to do your speech or your essay and you got to talk in front of the class, it's almost like, oh, man. But once I started playing basketball and everyone's like, you're really good, and all the attention that I was getting in the game, that was like my safe haven. That was like my place where I could blank everything out and it was just me in the basket. So once everybody showed love and support and kind of really just bowed down to me, everything else kind of felt the same way, like talking to people, just walking around. So it kind of became very easy to,
Okay.
very comfortable.
So you think like Can you teach that to someone? Or is it like natural?
That's actually a question that I always have with some of my friends, whether it's something that you just pick up, something that's just in you, or something that you can develop. So, my idea is that there may be a way to teach that to someone, but just because you're trying to teach it to someone doesn't necessarily mean that they will pick it up. It
Hmm.
also is in you to make the decision to just go and just, have those
True.
blinders on.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of both.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Clay, like growing up, who'd you look up to?
My mom,
Gotcha.
definitely. My grandmother,
I love that.
for sure. As far as players,
Hmm.
Michael Jordan, Kobe, Tracy, those guys, like AI was for sure some of my favorite players. I would say, my dad, my grandfather, but definitely my mom. She was there every single day. Like I heard Zach said, him and his family, he has a group chat with the women in his family. He calls his favorite women. And I
True.
kind of have something similar too, where it's just like the people that are constantly always supporting you no matter what. And to have that unit that really
That's big.
pours into you, that's
Yeah.
one of the greatest things in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I say, like for me, it's my grandpa.
Yeah.
Like I always looked up to him.
Yeah.
Like if someone asked me like, who's your favorite basketball player? It's my grandpa.
Yeah.
He used to play basketball too.
That's dope.
Um, and as far as like you, whenever you reached the level of NBA,
Yeah.
did you have like a mentor?
Yeah. I had tons of mentors actually. Like I was fortunate middle school, high school, people seeing something within me and kind of giving me that guidance of,
Hi, Jamil, كيفك?
I do, giving me that guidance of just like, I see something in you. You have a lot of potential.
Hmm.
You should focus on this. You should pay attention to this. And just taking it from everywhere. I had it in
Yeah.
family. I got it luckily going outside, going to the park, school, certain teachers, guidance counselors. And it just kept along the way where it's people who you can trust, who
True.
pour into you and kind of see something in you and kind of just give you a word of advice.
Yeah. Lee, how did you adapt to like overseas basketball?
I actually adapted pretty well. And it's funny because I went to junior college
Okay.
and I also went to prep school.
Yeah.
So leaving home 17, 18, to go to school, not having your parents, your family, and being thousands of miles away, going to school. I feel like overseas is different, but it was similar because it's almost like the trenches, really, where you're away from your family for so long and your people for so long. Luckily, I had the finances to be able to fly certain people out and, have a good time. But missing birthdays and holidays and certain things, just being overseas, like
Yeah.
coming from the NBA where you don't have to bring your own sneakers or jerseys to the game. I'm washing my own clothes and things like that in certain countries where
That's insane.
the laundry, where it took me back to college. Like it was to the point where everything was such a luxury and so laid out that now it's like I'm going back to like can I get a cleaning lady, please? Because but
Yeah.
now it's like I might have to clean my own apartment so it brought me back. I was from there. I got a chance to be able to, and still I can, but now I know like it's that much of a
Gotcha.
grind to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My favorite memory with you was last year. You
Yeah,
remember in Dubai?
absolutely. I remember Dubai.
Man, I remember the guy like bullied me
Yeah.
basically, and you had my back, bro. That's crazy.
That's who I am.
Yeah, like I feel like any team that has you is like a plus, really. Um, this year, whenever they told me that Sajas wanted you, yeah, I was like, yeah, they're gonna go far.
Appreciate
And
that.
talking about that, I wanted to ask you about like getting into zone
Yeah,
because you played against us and
yeah,
man, overtime, you took over. What
yeah.
happened? How'd you get in that zone?
I just feel like when my back is against the wall,
Okay,
you know, it's eat or be eaten. You know, I
gotcha.
got older brothers. I grew up in a community where people will punk you if you don't stand up for yourself. If you're not gonna do it, somebody else is gonna do it. My father always told me that. Like, what you're not doing, somebody else is doing. So if I'm not working hard, putting in the extra work, if I'm not willing to take control of the game, be poised, show composure, or show resilience, someone else is gonna do it. So pressure bursts pipes, but it also creates diamonds, you know?
Clee, you want to get cleaned up?
Yeah, he can line me up in the back. I might need some.
All
Man,
right.
don't mess me up though, man.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you also, what's your goal in life?
My goal,
Your goal in life.
I would say honestly, to continue to keep enduring and to keep striving, you know? I feel like I have all the competence and ability that I need to be successful. And adversity is going to be something that we all face, struggle, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you know, maybe even financially. But
Thank you.
I feel like I've been blessed and fortunate enough to have a lot of ups in life, you know, that definitely comes with downs, but, you know, a lot of ups where I just want to be able to keep handling it the way I'm handling it. And I know there's more that I have to continue to go through and learn and unlearn. So I'm just here for the journey, to be honest.
Got you. Got you. Can you talk about adversity? I know usually like for foreigners, whenever they play overseas, they start the game. And right now, like you're coming off the bench. How is it coming off the bench?
I mean, I always feel like I'm a starter, but if that's a sacrifice I need to make,
That's why I can
that's
see.
a sacrifice I need to make, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have had a few games where we started out slow. And I feel like if I definitely started, I would have brought a different energy. But one of my biggest things is control the controllable. So
Exactly.
I'm not really responsible for substitutions or creating a starting lineup. So
Yeah.
at that point, it's just going with the flow.
Yeah. Playing for Sagesse this year, what's the culture there?
It's new, you know, as far as the team, we're still creating an identity for ourselves. You know, we have a new player, very good, Nick. You know, Gibbs is a extreme vet, has experience in the NBA. Me, I'm a wild card, you know, I'm a joker.
Crazy.
So it's like there's a lot of young guys. We have AI, who's a really good import slash local. And I think we have a lot of weapons. So for us, it's just finding out and creating who we're going to be. You know, we haven't had too much time to play with each other. So the fact that we were able to win a game in the Final Four, which hasn't been done in about 8 years, and have a chance to actually win the whole series and go to the finals and win the finals, I think is pretty big for us. So
For
we're
sure.
just taking it one day at a time, you know?
And how do you handle the expectations?
Excuse my language, but F expectations, you know? I just do what I do.
Got you. You don't think about expectations.
I mean, when you start expecting things, that's when, you know what I mean? Just do what you do.
Because you know in Lebanon, like expectations are huge. Like especially like whenever you play for Sagesse.
If that's how
You
they
don't
want
pay
to live.
attention.
That don't got nothing to do with me. My paycheck come on time.
For, s-
That's so if we're talking about expectations, you know,
for sure.
when that
For sure.
when that month hits,
Lee,
definitely, you know,
why don't you warm up with the team, man?
because I feel warm ups are about warm ups, you know, about actually warming up, you know, and there's not a one size fits all with a warm up, you know? So unless you're actually doing a warm up that everyone agrees is warming them up, if it's not preparing me for the game, I would be pretty foolish to go out there and warm up in a way that's not preparing me the way I need to be prepared.
I remember asking you that question in Dubai, and you're like, man, I know what a basketball is.
I know what I
The
got to
rims
do.
don't change,
The rim don't, the baskets don't change. You know what I mean?
and I know how to shoot the
And I know how
basketball.
to shoot. I know how to play the game. When the game start,
Bro,
as
that
long as
was
I
so
get my
funny to
body
me.
and my mind where I need it to be, you know,
Yeah,
that's my warm up. You get what I'm saying?
got you.
So it's like sometimes I see certain guys and they go out there and they're balls to the wall, layup line, and in warm ups, sweating, going hard. Then the balls tip, and it's just like, you tired, bro? Yeah, because you just 20,
Already.
30 minutes, an hour, you were just out there shooting the ball, going crazy, doing a workout, you know? So it's like
Yeah, I got you.
defeats the purpose.
Yeah. What's up with the foam roll?
I need it. Vital. It's my baby.
Man, I remember, man.
I need
Also, first time seeing you, like the way you sit on that phone.
stretch. I'm a yogi at heart, to be honest. I
Yeah,
need it. It's vital.
yeah.
I'm 33. And I'm still jumping, and luckily I got a chance to meet certain athletes in the NBA, Vince Carter and, Joe Johnson, that 35, 36, they still able to jump and put it
ISO
down on
Joe.
you. And you know what I mean? And a part of that is, recovery. I just came from the ice bath. I just came from treatment,
Yes,
really
sir.
taking care of your body, watching what you eat, what you put into it.
Talk about
Simple.
eating. You're a vegan?
I was. I went back to chicken a little bit, but I play around with my diet and things like that. I'm not too big on animal protein. I'm
Got you.
big on plant based. Not too much freezer food and GMOs, but I keep it. I keep it strategic.
I remember that. I remember that. Uh, I know you don't believe in expectations, but how far you think like success is gonna go this
I
year?
mean, that's not an expectation. I think we could win the championship. You
Okay.
know, that's not really an expectation. It's more so just a vision. A goal, something I see for us, something I can look at each one of us and look at every one of them and say, yeah, we have a chance, you know?
Yes, sir.
But so, I mean, in reality, so does commitment. So that's,
True. True. True.
that's
True.
that's the reality of the situation. It's just everybody has a chance.
Yeah. Klee, who do you think is the face of the league in Lebanon?
The face? Wow, of course. Come on,
Well,
man. You know that.
yes, sir.
He's like the golden boy.
Yeah, yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
wrong with that though. He's been putting on.
Yeah. Have you played against him other than just like in Lebanon?
But he
No.
was in New York working out with my trainer, and I did get a chance to
I
catch,
saw that
you know,
in
with Chris Bridget.
Lifetime.
Yeah, Lifetime. I think it was at the summit. I think they went to the summit. But yeah, so that was pretty cool because that's big time.
Hmm.
Luckily, I got a chance to meet those guys and been working with those guys for years, and they have a whole bunch of NBA experience and still doing summertime games, and they go viral. And people always tagging me like, I see you, you know what I mean? But so for him to be showing that he's putting in that type of work in America, there's a reason why he is as good as he is here,
For
you know?
sure. Klee, any plans for the summer?
The same. I'm a basketball junkie, to be honest. I'll spend time in Vegas at Impact. I'll spend time in LA or Santa Barbara at P3 with Chris Johnson. I'll spend time in Atlanta, TSF, and some of my guys, and I'll spend time in Miami or New York or Toronto. But it's usually like a month or two, depending on how much time I have home. And I know I'm gonna get certain runs, pro runs. I don't just go play just anywhere. I play with people who respect the game enough to where it's like you might go play outside. Somebody feel like they got something to prove, and it's just like, no, this body is worth too much for you to be trying to push up on it and
For
just
sure.
prove something to yourself for your friends. So I try to keep myself out of certain situations and environments, just in general, just knowing, being mindful.
For sure. Klee, one last question before I introduce Maria. I'm very big, like, on educating young kids right
Yeah.
now, especially in Lebanon, like changing the culture. And especially you playing for Sages and having that big fan base behind you, what message would you give kids in Lebanon?
I would just say keep studying the greats, just in life. If there's anywhere you're trying to go, there's probably someone who has been there before you and has a little bit of a map that they can help you with. No one can truly tell you what to do, but they can give you a blueprint, and help guide you. So if it's basketball, if it's science or math, if it's whatever it is, architect, whatever it is in life that you feel like you want to do or you want to be, there's someone who's probably great at it. And be a student, learn as much as you can learn. Just approach every single day like you carrying water and chopping wood. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
Maria, can you please join us? Hey, how are you?
there you
Klee,
go.
do you know who Maria is, or
I've met her here, but
you've
not
met her?
before this.
Yeah.
How's everything? How's the conversation going so
It's been
far?
going great so far, so good.
Yeah. And how's your experience in Lebanon?
It's been real good. Like I was telling them, it's been phenomenal so far.
I'm happy to hear that. I want to know more, though, about your journey. Since you've been in a lot of places, and you said that you went to prep school and you went overseas and you played in the NBA, and then you're here in Lebanon. What was one of the hardest and most challenging time for you in your basketball journey?
For me, in my basketball journey, I would say probably when I was in the NBA. And that was because for the first time, there was this wait your turn type of
Yeah.
ordeal. And before it was like, as soon as I stepped somewhere, it was like, be you, you know? And there it was just like, you need some time before you could be you. And I think I was a bit impatient with that type of situation. So for me, it was uncomfortable. You know, there's a lot of guys who make a living in the NBA just smiling because they're on some happy to be here type of thing. And for a while, I wasn't happy because I just wasn't happy to be there. I wanted a role. I wanted to do what I know I could do, but I wanted to do that from game one. You know, it was like the first 5, 10 games, they're like, be ready. And it's just like, I am ready, you know, and then I play 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. It's just like, oh no, I need a trade, you know, I'm a rookie. And it's just like, man, sit your down, you know what I mean? So like it was, you know, for real, seriously.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most challenging part of my basketball career. Because as soon as I got overseas, when I was in college and prep school and high school, I was instantly able to be that guy, do what you do. And it was just like,
So, to you, do you think it's more important for you to be fully yourself as a player? Is that going to help you more? Or is it to be in situations and places like the NBA that's going to help you build your character or even your skills playing with players like that on that caliber?
I believe it depends on your goal. It depends on how you can truly find happiness. So, for instance, if I'm able to make a living and take care of my family and be able to be that guy playing and be at peace with it, then this should be the route. But if I feel like I want to be in the NBA, I want to develop in that type of way, then I would obviously have to humble myself and be like, yo, I could be on someone's team making $5 to $10 million, maybe just being the best cheerleader that they have, even though I feel like I could be going out averaging 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just really depends on what you're happy with. Some guys are happy doing that. The first couple of years, I was like, I don't know about this, you know, but as I grow, as I mature, it's something that I definitely thought about. I don't feel like I would be someone that was as pouting as I was before, but I do have more under my belt with experience overseas and things like that, that if I got an opportunity, if I was able to, you know, I would probably be in a situation where I'm like, I can do this. Or I might be there and I'm like, I need to play. You know, I'm going back overseas, you know? So we'll see.
So your goal is more on the authenticity part. And if I'm happy, I'm fine. I don't have to be in the NBA. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And you said that this was one of the most challenging phases that you went through in your basketball career. How did you deal with those emotions though? Because I'm sure it wasn't easy.
For me, looking at my bank account, like, oh my God, it's 7 figures there. I can do whatever I want. That was probably the easiest thing. Like, you know what? Life isn't too bad. But I think that distracted me a bit, you know, from focusing on the game and challenging myself to just lock into the game rather than just enjoying the fact that life is extremely good.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's-
Gratitude and being present and really focusing on
You
good
know,
things for
so-
you. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. You're known for having a winner mentality and a mentality, if you want, a fighting force within you. And we could see that in this season when you were out there on the court, even if it's the fourth quarter and even if you guys are losing, you would fight till the last second and give it your all. And sometimes that makes your teammates also keep fighting with you. So what gives you that drive for you to keep fighting even when the game isn't going well for you guys?
I wasn't always the biggest. I wasn't always the best.
Hmm.
There was times where I had to prove myself to get on the court, and for me, not just that, I feel like also being aware of what society, my ancestors, my family had to go through just to be able to feed me or have a job
Hmm.
was like there's stories of people being brought to America on slave ships. It gets real deep. So for me, is this really the worst life could be? And this is a game. You
Yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? You would like, why are you quitting? Why are you, like the game is not over. I seen T Mac as a kid go for 11, 12 in
30
20,
seconds.
30 seconds.
It's
So for me,
crazy.
I'm fucking T Mac. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? I have that sense of delusion or belief in a way. It's a
I'd rather call it
mixture.
belief.
It's a mixture of both,
Yeah.
because you don't actually know if you can do it until you believe that you can do it. So you believe something in yourself a little bit, and
Yeah.
claim something about yourself before
Hmm.
ever proving it. So for me, it's like that belief that we could still pull this out,
Hmm.
So we don't know until we try.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
one thing I don't like is people who quit, especially when the outcome still can be changed.
Yeah.
So the last thing I would want to be is a person who quit when I felt like I can change the outcome.
Hmm.
That's on anything in life and anything.
Did you ever go through something like that where you felt like I'm about to quit, or you
Yes,
actually did
absolutely.
quit?
Because
And
I feel like that's the emotions of life. That's the emotions of things. I don't think you care about something enough if you haven't thought about potentially quitting, or if
Mhm.
it, like, you haven't put in really enough energy into it if you haven't thought about quitting. But there's a difference in thinking about doing something and actually doing it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like when you care about something, things get difficult, things get overwhelming, because you want the best in the situation. That's why everyone gets a little bit of anxiety or the butterflies before the game, because there's an uncertainty. You want this to go well. You don't know if it's going to go well, and that realization is just like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But then it's just like I have nothing but the opportunity to make it go that way. So let's just try to get control what I can control, and
So
and
Yeah.
let's see where the chips fall.
And I think there's a thin line also in between quitting and letting go. Like, for example, in your case in the NBA, when if you left, right?
Yeah,
So you're fine with that decision
yeah,
because you knew what you wanted.
yeah,
So it wasn't considered as quitting; it was considered as letting go because there was
yeah,
something that's better off
exactly.
for you and
And
what
it's
you were
not
looking
like there's
for.
not a chance that I could be back in the NBA. It's just more so like my mindset at the
Yeah,
time. So I don't look at it like I quit. It
exactly.
was more so like I couldn't deal with
Hmm.
something. So I found a way to try to handle it better.
Hmm.
I feel like
yeah.
I was in a dark space. I was questioning things about myself and questioning things about the things going on around me. So it's just like, I need space.
Yeah.
I need time to think and to see what it is I truly want to make of myself.
And that is so important. And I wanted to mention that on purpose because a lot of athletes are so hard on themselves. And it's like, no, if I take that decision and I quit, it means it says a lot. It says a lot about who I am. But when you reconnect with who you are
Yeah,
and you know, okay, what is it that I actually want?
yeah,
Then it's not considered as quitting anymore. It's actually
exactly.
considered, I'm choosing to let this go,
Mhm,
right? So there's a very thin line in between this
mhm.
and that. And I love the fact that you mentioned that you took some space for your mental, because when you don't, then it's not sustainable anymore.
Yeah,
Then maybe you wouldn't be able to give off your 100% in the game
exactly.
and on court. And
And I wasn't able to focus as much. There was times where I was playing and I was in certain games and my energy was a little bit lethargic,
Mhm.
and it was just like the passion of it was kind of being disturbed, and it was just because I was overthinking
Yeah.
Yeah.
situations and everything. So a part of going overseas, it was an injury that I had as well. I tore my hamstring, and I'm just like, oh man, so fighting to get back into a certain position, a certain space, that was rough. Then I did some time in the G League, and I was just like, oh, And by the time I got healthy, I felt like I should be on the NBA roster. And they were like, well, play with the G League and let's see if you're fully. And then I'm getting offered 400 or 500K, for 7 to 8 months to go play in a team in Japan. It's just like, and y'all trying to give
Uh,
me G League money or, make me
no
earn a spot
question.
in the league. It's just like, you know what? One thing I am happy with was looking at my bank account, like I told you. So I'm gonna go take this over here. You know what I mean? So it
For
became,
sure.
you know what I mean?
For
It
sure.
was it was e- it was
Yeah.
it was an easy decision for me. But the time that I spent overseas, being by myself, gave me a lot of time to think
Mm.
and be with just me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the body follows the mind,
Exactly.
right? If the mind is tired and if the mind is not processing things and if the mind is overwhelmed, the body's going to react to this, and you're going to
Exactly.
be more prone to injuries as well.
Mhm.
How do you now? What do you do now to prevent going through that loop of emotions?
I feel like I'm at a level now to where, like you said, I've submitted.
Mm.
I've let go to where whatever happens, happens. Like it is what it is. I only
Surrendering.
can control exactly. I only can control what I can control. So if the refs make a call before it was a lot of emotions being shown as if I can change the outcome or like we seen someone go back and change the call. But it's just like, you know what I can do is control the next play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put a bucket on the head, go dunk on them, get a steal, but I can't. So talking to him, complaining about this foul call, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get down the court. I'm not even gonna. So the reaction time, spending time reacting was just became less and less
Less.
to things. It was just like, what is it solving? What is it changing? Once I realized like every problem has a solution, that solution lies within me, my ability to overcome adversity and make rational decisions that lead to my success. It was like, why am I spending time doing certain things? So I just kind of was just like, if there was anything to quit on, it was that.
Mhm. And actually, there are a lot of cases that highlight on, I'll call it quote unquote, the attitude that you used to have before. And when you were entering here, you said that this season I was behaving, like I was cool, right? So,
Yeah.
so why do you think that, I'll call it attitude, okay? Why do you think that certain type of behavior was there in the beginning?
Because that's where I was from. Like
Mm-hmm.
where I'm from is like you punch in the mouth before you get punched in the mouth.
Mhm.
And that's not just figuratively. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
literally.
it's like you have to go into a situation being able to protect yourself and show like, hey, I'm not no punk. And if y'all try to punk me, like
Mhm.
I'll come back with so many people and
Defense
it's actually
mechanism.
you know what I mean? It's a defense
Yeah.
mechanism. Exactly. And once I realized there's no reason to show that because I actually have that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like when you actually start getting some money, it's like you want to show like look, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go buy so much stuff to show you guys I have money. But then when you then when you have money for a long time, it's just like I don't care to show you guys that I have
Have
money. I
money.
just want to make more money and I'm actually gonna go rent this car for
Yeah.
$12 rather than go rent this car in another country for so I could be here and go pay $1,000 extra, $500 extra, and be like, you know what, I could go stay in Beirut and be like, I'm gonna stay in this apartment down here because it's by the beach and look at how this looks. And it's
For
like, no,
sure.
I'm cool. I'm fine.
You have
Like,
nothing to prove.
like I really don't feel like I have anything to prove at this point, Like
For sure.
I'm gonna keep proving what I prove, how I do it. But as far as proving it to other people, like
I love that.
I'm one of the like, you know what I mean? I know I'm one of the greatest to ever do this. You know what I'm saying? I have this life experience, this basketball game. And if you don't
Yeah.
believe it, just keep an eye on me.
For sure.
I always say that once you reconnect with your inner power,
Yeah.
when there's no enemy within,
Yeah.
the enemy outside can do us no harm.
There is no enemy out there. There's no me against
Yeah.
the world.
If
It's me.
there
It's
is an
always
enemy
me
within,
against
that's
me.
how you're gonna see
That's
the
the
world.
only enemy.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all it is. So that's self-actualization. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
sir.
And
Exactly.
when you
So he's
get
speaking my language. I like that.
when you get
But
to where you just
I knew you guys were about to like, have fun
Hit it
together.
up.
So he
Yeah.
speaks your language, So
so for me it's just kind of like I'm a creator, and sometimes you have to build things and sometimes you have to destroy things, and you just have to know when to make the decision.
It's actually a transformation rather than
It's an
you know,
infection.
destroying or
Exactly.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's creation. It's just, it is what it is. You can't, like, it's learning is just as important as unlearning. And I come from a place where
Come sit next.
I've been taught things that I have to unlearn, and I have been
Yes.
not taught things that I have to learn. And I'm just on that journey. So, I'm
Same
patient.
here.
I'm patient with me. You get what I'm saying?
this year,
I wanted to ask you. Yeah.
yeah, I was like I was impatient with myself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I went through so many phases, and I learned to be patient with myself,
Yeah.
and unlearn too. Uh, and I feel like people saw it.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I was going down,
And then,
and then towards the end,
Yeah.
whenever I learned that technique of
Mhm.
unlearning and like being patient with myself, breathing,
Just breathe, bro. Breathing is
it
the
just
beginning of it all.
it was
Like,
smooth. Yeah,
seriously.
because your breath
it's
brings
smooth
you back to the present moment, and this is where the creation is happening. This
for
is where the
sure.
transformation
And
is
people will
happening.
try to put those expectations and pressures on you, And
Exactly.
you will, and if you allow it, you will, So you
Exactly.
gotta be mindful.
And to be honest, I feel like this podcast helped me too.
Yeah.
Like having Maria and people like you. I was a sponge, and like I
Yeah,
would just like learn, and try to adapt and
I've learned that
apply it.
through fellowship, through friendships,
Yeah.
through connection, the people like company, because good
Facts.
character, good company, that brings you to and there's so many different psychological like experiments, tests, and things that show that if you put people in a bad environment around a whole bunch of chaos, it's
Exactly.
easy to adapt to those things, and if you put them in the opposition, it's easy to get lifted. So for me, it's like being aware of who I'm around day to day, who are my friends,
Exactly.
who am I giving energy, pouring into, allowing to pour into me. So,
Exactly. Shout out to LBA, man.
you know,
That's my people around me. They uplift me every day.
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 1,000%. Because you're at the end of the day, the energy is being transmitted, and you're receiving that, and
Contagious.
It's
Yeah.
flowing. It's a revolving door.
and
See, I love Clee, man. I gotta hang out more with Clee. Yeah, hopefully we'll be Team X next year. I don't know where, but hopefully.
You know what I mean? We're going to make it happen.
And speaking of unlearning, the step that happens before you start to intentionally want to unlearn something is actually being aware of that thing that you
Yeah,
want to unlearn, right?
exactly.
So I said it before on the podcast, and I think I always say that the number one step to a change in behavior is awareness.
Yeah.
So I need to be aware and real and honest with myself, not just aware of how do I feel, what do I think, but also how do I show up in the world?
Yeah.
What kind of impact am I leaving? When I walk into a room, what kind of energy am I putting
do
out
people
there?
think of me?
Exactly, because self-awareness is not just what am I aware of
How
about
you see
myself, but
yourself.
also me and in relation with the world outside.
Yeah.
So once you're aware of that and where you stand, and then knowing and having a clarity of your vision of where do I want to be, and then where do I stand in position to where do I want to be, and knowing that gap. Okay, what kind of person do I need to become now
Yeah.
in order to become actually that person and live
Exactly.
this kind of life? And you knowing that you came from a very different and tough background, and knowing where you are here right now, what kind of decisions have you taken or lessons you have learned that helped you become the person you are now?
I feel like it was more spiritual, And what
What
mean
does
is,
spiritual mean to you? How did you take that on?
for me, it's like an intelligence, a moral intelligence. So I break it down into a mental, an emotional, a physical, a spiritual, a financial, a sexual, a romantical,
Yeah.
just a conscious energy.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a paradox, like ignorance, intelligence, chaos, order. And I started to realize that a lot of the things that I grew up as normal or regular was actually very chaotic, was actually disorder, was actually like toxic and trauma responses and defense mechanisms. But why? Now that's a deeper conversation.
Yes.
But I started to see the destruction in behavior and the psychology. And I come from ghettos where most people grow up without their fathers or their mothers and their families who don't support them or show them unconditional love and pour into them, and they resort to the streets or drugs or alcohol or prostitution. And some of the most, we can't judge it,
Mhm.
because it's very real. So there's a lesson to be learned in all of it. People that are going through these traumas, the abusers, the victims, and we see this process of destruction happening. And you're just like, well, what is the solution? Where does the order fit in? And you must be the change you wish to see in the world. So I could either ignore it and almost like lose my soul and become numb to it and just be like, yo, it's happening. Or I could fight for something that I see most people are not fighting for or paying attention to
Yeah.
or even aware of. So it was just like, now I got to look within myself and my culture and my traditions and my character and my habit that actually that is parallel to what exactly that they're doing. That's a problem, not just a problem for me, but a problem for a woman walking the street or a child walking the street or just another man, my brother, a
Yeah.
person, a human, and I was starting to see some of the craziest things within cultures and people and society and that were implemented by governments and things. And it was just like, it was scary,
Yeah.
and I wanted no parts of it. So at that point, it was just for me to make a decision to try my hardest to fight my flesh or how I think or my desires that might still be programmed to be a certain type of way and know that this is not okay. So for me, that started with, you know, I was raised in the church. Some people are Muslim in the Abrahamic religions. That's another conversation. So for me, it was a big part of those things that helped me see like righteousness and virtue
Hmm.
and fighting for your soul,
Mm.
and fighting for that moral and that Holy Spirit that is going to align you with something bigger than just an
Inner
earthly
wisdom.
For
experience,
sure.
and that kind of really got it done for me, like I'm a big believer in a lot of our Suggest fans are Christians and they're fellow believers of Jesus Christ as being the Messiah. And that's one of the ways that I feel, and I believe in God and I feel like connecting to that higher power and that positive source of energy that's out there for all of us. It's truly love for other people, love for yourself, respect for other people. But
Yes,
what does
sir.
that truly mean? Like, and it's a breakdown. And if you don't study these things the same way I go to the gym and I study Michael Jordan's footwork or what he ate for food to feel strong or shoot, it's just like, then I'm just never gonna know. So I started to pay attention to a whole different aspect of life.
I have a
So,
very similar story actually. I can totally relate to that.
Mhm,
And just, I always say connecting to myself. When I connect more to myself, I'm connecting more with God. And when I connect more with God, I'm connecting more to myself.
mhm,
And it gives you that higher level of consciousness as well, because you're truly connecting to a higher power and
mhm.
greater wisdom, right?
Exactly.
And you are extensions of the creator. So
Literally.
so the power that he has, you have within you. And once you
Exactly.
connect with that power, then you can implement it in anything that you can do.
Exactly.
And love is the highest frequency that exists out there. So if you're
Exactly.
constantly showering yourself with that power, then what can't you do? Right?
Exactly.
Can move mountains and more.
And that's
So
scripture.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
What are your takes on that? Where do you think you are now in your journey of transformation?
in my opinion, I think you always change. Like,
Mhm.
Yes.
there's always room for improvement. And I just try to be the best version of myself, and try to be a sponge.
Yep.
And I think that, yeah, basically room for improvement. there isn't any ceiling, for me or for anyone. Um, just try to be the best version of myself
Yeah.
every day.
And I've
Learn and
watched
try
you.
to learn a new skill. Yeah, that's my goal really in life, learn and just be happy.
I've watched you go through that transformation over the past season, and I love
Especially
doing
this,
that.
I feel like this year I matured so much and I grew so much as a person,
I could see that.
But this happens with experience, and I guess years after years you get more experience and you get wiser and you learn more and you know more, and that's how you become like the best version of yourself.
And something that Clay mentioned, when you divide your life into different aspects and then you start putting goals to those different aspects, you kind of narrow down, where do I want to focus my energy?
Compartmentalization.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, and then there's the adventure, there's the creativity, there's the community and giving back, and there's the relationships, and there's the family and friends. There are so many different areas in life, and once you start dividing that and then seeing, okay, where do I want to be in each of those different areas? So I want to build skills and I want to grow, but where do I want to be in every one of those? What does this goal, what skill does that goal require for me to build up? And then what kind of habit and routine and lifestyle do I want to
Do I
build for
need and
myself
have
to
to
be
put
able
in
to get
for
there?
for that to
Exactly.
grow?
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. And so right now, after going through that transformation and being part of a team, right, in basketball, how do you transfer that leadership that you have within you to the people that are with you on the team?
I feel like you walk in that truth, and I feel like it's contagious. When you've liberated yourself to be that way, it almost liberates other people just by default. So it's contagious at that point. It's just like, well, if
It resonates.
he has that confidence to,
Mhm.
where it's like, well, why can't I? And it's just like, exactly.
Exactly.
Why can't you?
But how do you get into that confidence? Is when you step into who you truly are.
Yes.
Yes.
So some of my teammates, you know, I don't want to say any names. One of them, he asked me, but when did you get to this point? But when did you get to this point? And I'm just like, I don't know. I accepted it. I thought about it for a long time. And there was people who were saying, you know, I think he probably should. And it wasn't until I not just took their advice and listened to their questions, it was until I asked myself certain questions that I started just working on certain things. So it was just like, for me, I always believed that I was always amazing in basketball, but I know there was times that I probably was poop. I was terrible, So, and there's my friends probably could tell you he really wasn't that good, but he swore he probably was good. So even in this journey, it's just like there's probably my mother or other people that can say like he was always this or that, but he always challenged himself to get to the person that I am in front of you today. And I feel like it was always a process. So it was hard to answer that question. Like it was just a click because like you said, it's always room for improvement. So within my experience of it is it's this. And when someone else sees it, they see just like a bulletin, like a point, you know what I mean? But it's just like, you don't see everything else that went around to even get to that point. So pretty much when people are getting to see the product, they see a finished product. And life is actually so much more that's going on around things being that way before you get to see it. And that's circumstantial. So if you see me and everything is going good or flowing, that's just the current state of the now,
Yeah.
And there's people, for instance, one of my boys, he just lost his mom. So his current state of now is different,
For
and
sure.
I could only imagine if I was in that position coming to talk to you today, my mood or my energy or my frequency or my conversation might vary or be different. There might be
Sure.
something else that I'm putting off. And it's not because I don't have what I have in me right now. It's just how I'm feeling and what's going on in my life and me trying to get past that adversity, like there was a game that I played against reality and in practice 2 days before that I had a slight tear and a grade 2 sprain in my calf. So I wasn't able to perform a certain type of way and my mood was a certain type of way, and I knew I would get past it. I knew I would overcome it, but still at that current moment, it was just like, blah, you know? So I feel like when people see you, they see that point,
Yeah.
and usually that point is less than 1% of who you truly are and what is truly you, and sometimes that makes up 100% of what they think of you and majority of what they think of you, which is actually crazy. So going into it, I know that I don't really know anyone. And I would love if people had that same perspective and realized that what you're seeing is just a glimpse of a person and never truly the whole entire person. There's so much more to me, there's so much more to you. There's so much more to you, even within this conversation where you're like, all right, we've seen so much. It was like, have you really?
Yeah,
You get what
there's
I'm
so
saying?
much deeper
So
to every sentence you said. I know
exactly.
that there's so many stories behind
There's
everything that you
so
said.
exactly,
Yeah.
so it takes so much to get to certain points. And no one ever looks at that. They just see what they see. And then it's just like,
Yeah, they see the product,
you
Yep.
know?
basically.
And I try to look a little bit past that. Like there's things that brought you there,
Yeah.
that got you there.
And once you've been there and then you became that person, then you start looking at other people like
Yeah.
that and you have more empathy and you have
Empathy,
more
exactly. More
compassion.
compassion, more
Yeah.
grace, more mercy,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that's
Yeah.
why I
100%.
love basketball, man. You learn so much with that
Yeah.
sport.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. And
Really.
it's a character development as well.
Exactly.
For real. No,
Exactly.
seriously.
Yeah. I love this conversation. Thank you so much.
No problem.
That was very insightful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having
And
me.
I kept
Thank
smiling
you,
because
Clay.
like this is everything I talk about all the time. Like if you
Love.
know me, you know like these are so I'm really happy that we had this conversation today.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Maria, you still have something to say?
No, I'm good.
No?
Yeah. Let's go. Start
Because
play.
I'm smiling, but at the same time I'm sad. I didn't want to use that word, but for the people, it was the beginning of a chapter with Mavens, but the end of an era because Maria's gonna leave us. It's her last episode with us. We're gonna miss you, me, LBA, the production.
I'm gonna miss you
It
all.
was عن جد, it was a great ride, Maria. Thank you so much for everything you bring to the show. I'm sure the people love you too. عن جد, يعني, you were a key piece of this show.
Thank you. It was my absolute pleasure. First, I want to thank LBA for giving me this opportunity, for giving me this trust to be here, and thank you for sharing this experience with me and for having me on your podcast. And I'm so proud of the person that you've become, and I'm so
Thank you,
happy
Maria.
that I was able to accompany you on this journey of beginning something new and then seeing the kind of man that you've become on court, off court, on camera, off camera. So I'm really happy, and I'm really grateful for everyone who was watching, who was supporting, who was loyal to the show. And I know that I will be forever supporting this show and super loyal, number one fan, fifth quarter. Keep watching, keep subscribing, and keep liking.
Man, عن جد, يعني, you know the games that I usually play with the guys?
Yeah.
We're gonna play one هلا.
Yalla, let's go.
Yeah. So Clay, one last game before we wrap it up. It's
Let's go.
So you don't really know all the Lebanese players. So we're gonna take Sages, your team, okay?
Right.
So we're gonna have different aspects of the game. So
Yeah.
skills, shooting, whatever, and you gotta tell me who's the best in those
Yeah.
aspects.
Just locals though.
Just locals.
Okay.
Yeah. Skills,
Skills, I would say AI.
AI, shooting,
My answer is Aziz.
Aziz, dunking,
Duncan, I would say Kareem.
layup,
Layup package. I feel like Bobo be laying people in the games. I feel like- for sure.
yeah, yeah. IQ,
IQ, I would say my vet, Rodrigue.
Rodrigue, physicality,
Physicality, I gotta go with Sabali. Come on.
Sebale,
Yeah, of course. No, but that's a hard answer because I might have to throw Bobo in there too, though. I might have to throw Bobo in there too. Bobo's tough.
You know who I had in mind?
Who?
Omar.
Omar's tough too.
Yeah, Omar.
Yeah.
Omar
Omar's tough.
physicality is
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
some.
He's
He's
strong.
strong.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
strong.
for
Yeah.
sure. No,
Defense.
I would say Omar. That's for sure. I'm going with Omar.
Yeah.
You know, Bobo's more physical, but Omar is a really good defender.
Yep.
Yeah. Bobo's a good defender too, but
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
have to
they're both great
No,
defenders.
they're both good
Yeah,
defenders.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, I just had to make sure
For
because
sure,
then
for sure.
they're gonna see me and be like,
What's up?
What about the mental performance?
mental performance. I would have to go with my vet Rodrigue again too.
Again.
Because he's been someone even last year. You know, I heard stories of him playing and doing really well. So someone at that age, I would only hope that I have the mental and emotional toughness to make it to 38, 39 and still care to be around, you know, a whole bunch of guys, being a therapist and talking to people and going out there where it's just like I could be on a beach sipping mimosas and
sure.
just chilling. You know what I mean? Why am I? So I think it takes a lot of mental toughness to still be at it at this age, at that age for sure.
For sure.
Nice.
Well, I think it's giveaway time. Neeks. Thank you, my brother. That's the famous Nabdallah, guys. So I'm about to start with Klee. So Mavens, thank you, Mavens, Anjad, for this amazing space. They're offering you a massage
Oh, okay.
and
I'll take it.
and a haircut for free.
Okay.
Maria
Appreciate that. Thank you.
also.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yep. And thank you, Mavens, for myself too. Thank you, Autograph Empire. Again, thank you, Mavens. The location is downtown. Guys, go check their place out. It's amazing.
Super nice.
They got everything, and
So
literally from clothing to barbershop to massage to art pieces to perfumes. It doesn't end. So,
Bunch of antiques too.
and antiques for sure. Klee, thank you so much.
No problem.
Maria, we're gonna miss you.
I'm going to miss you guys so, so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with the people you love. But I won't see you next time.
Cut.